On my recent trip to the Dollar Tree, I came across these acrylic boards. I have seen them around social media. I finally found them and I brought home several of each size. I'm going to start with three of the larger ones, and I love that they have two different sizes. I'm going to pair them with this board. You can find these at Dollar Tree pretty much year round. I tried removing the paper by hand, but it was giving me a hard time, so we're just going to use my electric sander, sand it as down as I can, I suppose, and then I have to wipe it really, really well. I am going to dry fit the boards on it. Basically, just want to put them on top of them. This is just giving me an idea of how many blocks I want to place because I want to create a base for them. So I'm going to use the tumbling tower blocks. I love these. You know I do. I love crafting with them. And I'm just going to use several of the natural wood tone ones. I'm going to start placing several. Again, we're creating a nice little base where these can actually stand vertically on. So I'm just going to start making a whole row with these. And then I'm going to move on to adding another row to the back. And then I decided to, instead of another row, I'm just going to add a little stacks to the back, a little taller so that the boards can actually stand nice and tall. So I'm just going to add one in the middle for the middle board and then one in the side on each side for the other two. All right, now that everything's in place, I am going to paint it in the sandstone color by Waverly chalk paint. And I'm going to do a couple of coats and let that dry. All right, so these are the boards. They have the kind of like a protective film on each side. I'm only going to take the one from the top. Using my Cricut, I cut out the word joy. I made sure that each letter is going to fit nicely on each board. Now, if you don't have a cutting machine, don't worry. Just hand draw these onto the back of vinyl and then use them like stickers. You can also use the carbon paper method that I have used many times here before, and you just have to print out the words on regular print paper. All right, once I have the letters on each board, I'm going to take them outside and spray it with this. It's kind of like a frosted look that's going to give it. So I'm going to do a couple of coats and let that dry. In the meantime, I'm going to place some of these felt pads underneath the board because that way it's not going to scratch up at the surface. All right, we're also going to add some fairy lights because I do want this to light up at night. So I'm going to hot glue the battery pack to the back. And then I'm going to add some of this alien tape on each side. And I'm just going to stick it from each side back towards the middle. And then I'm going to add a little bit of clear tape later on. I added another piece of the alien tape securing it in place. And then the little plastic film that came with it. All right, so now we're going to take the vinyl. We're just going to remove it. You see how it now has that nice frosted look? That's what I was looking for. And you're going to see it even more now that I'm going to remove the back film, because each acrylic board has a film on the front and the back. I want to add a little bit of embellishments to the front, so I'm going to add some of these evergreen picks that I get on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. I'm going to add a couple of them, one to each side, and then shorter version of these in the center, and that way it's just going to make it fuller. I contemplating using more picks, maybe from a Dollar Tree, but I wanted to keep it simple and add just a red poinsettia right in the center. All right, so we are going to add those pieces of tape that I mentioned earlier. This is just to hold those fairy lights in place and then place each board onto the base. Oh my word, guys, this is gorgeous. Wait until you see it in the dark. It lights up. It looks so high-end. Love it. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I am going to take more of the tumbling tower blocks and we're going to create a beautiful Christmas tree. Wait until you see it. All right, I love using these. These have 72 in a box and they come in the two different tones. I used the natural wood tone earlier and we're going to use the dark ones now. I am going to use my squared ruler. That way it'll keep them nice and straight. And we're going to start hot gluing them together just like building blocks. We're going to add a little bit of hot glue because it goes a long way. So I want to start by creating a nice base for what will be the tree. Now, at this point, I wasn't sure how big I wanted it, so I'm just going to keep adding. And then in the end here, I'm going to show you so you have an idea if you want to recreate it. All right, so once I had it done, this is what I had for the base. I had 4 on each side with 8 in the center and the set of 2 on each side. Now we're going to create 8 sets, actually 16 sets of 2 blocks. And then we're going to stack them and hot glue them together like a little ladder. I'm sure you've probably seen some like these. And what we want to have is we want to have 2 sides for the tree, of course, and each side is going to have 8 pieces of the 2 blocks. All right, so we're going to add this last one here, and then I decided to paint it red. Of course, you can leave it like this. You can paint it white, green, whatever color you want. I'm going to do the inside as well as the outside because you're going to be able to see it. And I only added one coat. This is the Crimson Red by Waverly. All right, now that it's dry, we're going to build the tree. So I'm going to add one side first, tilting it towards the middle, then carefully holding the pieces, adding glue at the bottom of the other side, then adding glue at the top. I worked a little fast, but you don't have to hurry too much. Just take your time. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue on those ends. That way it's going to be nice and strong joints. Once dry, I am going to paint the hot glue so it blends well with everything else. All right, so now we're going to add some of these greenery picks from Dollar Tree. These are just ones that I pulled out of a larger pick. And I'm going to add 3 little branches on each side, skipping one block in between. A little hot glue goes a long way. I am going to use one of the smaller acrylic boards and I am going to add an edge to it. This is just going to frame it. And this is the rub and buff in the golden tone. And using a little rag, I'm just going to line the edges. And then I also added some in the front of the tree and on the back. So it just kind of matches. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I still want to see that red. But this really takes it to a whole different level. If you don't use rub and buff, it's such a beautiful way to add a high-end look to any craft you make. And it goes on very metallic finish. Love it. I've been obsessed with it the last few weeks. All right, so we're just going to keep adding here until the back and the front are nicely covered. And then we are going to add the acrylic board inside and a battery operated candle on it. That is it, my friends. Oh my word. This is gorgeous. Wait until you see it in the dark all lit up. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these square boards, of course from Dollar Tree. I love that they are square and I don't like that they're so splintery. This one here had an insane amount of splinters. So I'm going to sand it smooth very, very, very good and then dust it very well. I'm going to add a nice cover or layer of Mod Podge, and this is going to be the iron-on technique that I love using. Once I had the entire surface covered, I'm going to put it to the side to dry. We're going to pair it with one of Dollar Tree's calendars. This one here from 2025 is gorgeous. The Christmas or December one has a beautiful design. I'm going to try to recreate the little wreath that is already on the design using this garland tie. I'm just going to twist it and then just kind of ruffle it around. And then to give it that nice kind of 3D look, I'm going to add some more of those little picks we used earlier. Cut them in even smaller pieces, and we're just going to add those with hot glue. And again, it's just going to add fullness and just texture with a different green tone. Once I had it set, then I am going to add a little red bow because we want to mimic the one that is already on the design. I'm going to double loop it. And I'm just going to loop it like an awareness ribbon, scrunch it in the middle. I'm going to make another one, make it just a little bigger. And then we're going to set it in the back and we're going to tie it in the center with some jute string. And then we're going to hot glue it to the top with a little mini wreath. And we're going to dovetail cut the ends for a finished look. I did add an extra little piece of the ribbon in the center just to make it nice and finished. Alright, so now that the board is dry, we're going to take the calendar page, set it on top. We're going to take parchment paper and we're just going to iron it on. The heat is going to activate the Mod Podge and is going to attach beautifully with no bubbles. I'm telling you, it works so good. There's a little bit of pages kind of like towards the edges, so I'm just going to sand those going downward, and it's just going to smooth the edges and remove that excess paper. Same thing with this one. I'm going to add a little bit of that golden rub and buff. This is just going to again, create like a little bit of a finished look, and it kind of frames it in, and I am going to make sure that it kind of overlaps towards the front for a little bit more of a distressed look. All right, so now we're going to attach the wreath right onto where the wreath is, right there with a little bit of hot glue. And we're going to bring in another one of the smaller boards, remove both the front and the back film, and then we're going to add some wooden blocks on each corner. A little hot glue goes a long way, so I'm just going to add one in each corner. These I get at Dollar Tree. They come a whole ton in a little packet. Just like I did earlier, I am going to line the edges with the rub and buff. This is so that you can see that there's like a board there, right? It looks like glass. So I'm just going to line the edges, and then we're going to add more blocks to each corner with hot glue, but we're going to do it on the opposite side. And then we're going to place this entire thing, hot glue it over the phrase on the design on the board. This is going to make that little section stand out and make it look like it's meant to be there. You know what I mean? Because it's a calendar page. So we want to make it very custom. So a little hot glue, and we're going to place it right over it. Of course, we want to be able to hang this piece. So I'm just going to place tape on some of this nautical rope from Dollar Tree on each end so that they don't fray. And then we're going to add hot glue to the back, and we're just going to hot glue it. That's it. Such an easy way to hang. I love these ropes. What a gorgeous and very unique piece. I love it. I love the combination of the 3D texture with all the extra things we added. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these wooden pieces that you can find in the crafting aisle pretty much year round. I love the design that it has on the edges. We're not going to need the little string, so we're going to remove that, and we're going to sand down the edges and wipe it well, and then we're going to paint it white, only the edges because the bottom and the top will not need it. I'm going to take one of these dusting mops from Dollar Tree. I already had one left over from a previous project, so I'm just going to take that, and I'm just going to dry fit the board on top, and then we're going to cut off the excess, and then we're going to hot glue it right over it. That's it. We are going to trim the excess little fussies from the side so that way it kind of looks nice and finished. All right, we're going to take some more of the tumbling tower blocks, and we're just going to paint them white because I want to create another base for the acrylic board. Now for this one, it didn't work out as I planned, and I'm going to show you how I fixed it. All right, so I'm going to take the little blocks, and then we're going to kind of open up the mop. See what I'm doing? And then I'm going to hot glue it. This is me hoping that it's going to be strong enough to hold the board, but it wasn't. So again, I'm going to show you how I fixed it. So I'm going to keep placing them, and I'm just going to leave maybe about a ½ an inch in between, maybe even less. And I'm just going to place them, and then again, create a little nice center for our board. So I'm going to keep adding them, but you're going to see that they're still very loose. You'll see it here. All right, so here's me trimming it because it is just way too crazy looking. And then I'm just going to use my fabric scissors because it works well. See what I'm saying? They are loose. So I'm going to use my brad nailer, and I'm going to just add 2 brad nails per side, and it worked perfect. All right, I'm going to paint these screws or the nails so that way you won't see them. And that worked really well. All right, so we're going to use one of the smaller ones. Again, we're going to remove that top protective film, and we're going to place one of these little decal stickers from Dollar Tree. They bring them pretty much every season. I've had this one for a while, and I had this tree left over, so we're going to place it right there in the center. Then we're going to place some Mod Podge on the edges. This is because we're going to add some faux snow and give it a nice frosted look because our base has that snowy look. So once I had the Mod Podge on, I'm going to add some of the faux snow, and then I'm going to press it down, and then we're going to remove the excess, and then we're going to fold the paper and create like a little funnel so that we can reuse the snow that we have left over because we don't want to let it go to waste. You can find faux snow at Dollar Tree as well. All right, so we're going to add some fairy lights also. For this one, we're going to add 2 screws, 1 on each side, and we're going to roll the strings back and forth, and then we're going to hot glue the battery pack to the back. All right, so we are ready to place the board right on it. So we are going to remove the back film and place it right on top, my friends. This is so cute. All right, we're going to add some of these frosted berry picks from Dollar Tree, just 1 on each side, and then a larger frosted berry in the center to keep it nice and simple. We want it to be very snowy. You know what I mean? And look how cute this looks. Wait until you see it in the dark. It's so pretty, all lit up. Love it, but let me know what you think down in the comments. I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.